Well, hello. This is Kelly Fasterling with eXp Realty. Thank you so much for joining us today. I am very pleased and honored to have my friend Bill Dolloff with us today on this interview. Bill, thank you and welcome.
Hey, Kelly, thanks a lot for inviting me. I'm excited about having a little chat today about real estate, life, all kinds of things, and looking forward to it. Want to say hi to everybody.
Thank you. Thank you. Now, Bill and his wife Connie, they're full-time realtors up in the New Hampshire area. I met them actually at an EXP conference around the pool. It was an amazing meeting, and we've been connected ever since. But he has an amazingly strong background. 22 years as a Marine, a really long history as a quality manager in many, many different industries. And then he joined his wife in real estate because she had been really big in real estate prior to that. So let's break it down, Bill, and just kind of step through each one.
Yeah, let's dive in.
Let's go into the shaping of your discipline and your consistency. A Marine for 20 years. By the way, thank you. My son is in the Army, and it's such an amazing benefit, a service.
Yes.
But tell me about that time in the Marines, and tell me how it really prepared you for life.
When I joined the Marine Corps, I was just working, construction as a young man and didn't really know where I wanted to go. Someone I knew as a childhood friend went in the Marines and came home from boot camp, and I saw his eyes, this sort of direction and this sort of commitment to things that he wanted to do, and I don't know, it just kind of woke me up. And I went to talk to the recruiter, and he said, "Hey, I can send you to boot camp," and this was like in the beginning of March. And he said, "I can send you to boot camp in April. I can send you in September." I said, "I'm not waiting around till September." So off I went, and my father was career Navy, so he had to ask me why the Marines, and I said, "I just need to go somewhere where I can prove myself." So off I went, and I don't know where I would be today if I didn't do that, but I don't think it would probably be as great a place as I am today. It taught me so much, and I saw so many great things and experienced so many great things and worked with amazing people. I would do it all over again in a second.
Well, and I see that in my son too. I see the stature, I see the confidence, and I see that in you too, just that bearing and that presence.
Yeah, and I think that's really been one of the key things that helped me all along through my life is just having, a more confident attitude, not, annoyingly cocky, but just confident and, sure of yourself. And, there's been times when I was like you had to be sure of yourself. And so it's been a great experience. Those 22 years, I look back on it, and like I said, wouldn't change a thing.
Well, in running your own business in real estate, you have to be very sure of yourself. You have to be very disciplined, very directed. And I'm sure that background helped you there.
Yes, it sure has. Through all those experiences, through my aerospace quality assurance, which we'll probably talk about in a minute, that helped me kind of be detail oriented. But there's been so many things along the way that have helped me mold into who I am today. And I think those are things that help Connie and I. She has so many great qualities herself, in this business. And I think the two of us together really bring such an assortment of skill sets. And I think my Marine experience definitely is a big attribute.
Yeah,
Today.
and it's a neat partnership you and Connie have. But I'm going to dive first. You had mentioned the quality manager in many different industries, aerospace being one. Talk to me about how you shifted then out of being a Marine and how you elected to move into that industry and how you grew through that segment.
Yeah. Well, I've always had a fascination with aircraft. So when I joined the Marines and the recruiter said, you can go in the Marine Corps and work on helicopters and aircraft, I said, well, I always wanted to be an astronaut. I wasn't going to fulfill that dream. So I said, the next best thing is to work on helicopters. So here I am. So I worked on helicopters for most of my Marine Corps career. And when I got out, I wanted to do something involving aviation, and I wanted to do something that was involving something in the defense industry because I wanted to still give back to my nation and to my fellow Americans that were serving in the military. So I got my bachelor's degree in business, worked on my master's degree in business. So I wanted to have something on paper that an employer would recognize, And then all that quality assurance work I did in the Marine Corps, actually inspecting the maintenance on the aircraft, kind of got me in the quality assurance mindset, and I studied that field. So when I migrated out of the military, I said, I want to see if I can capitalize on my experience and do something in the aerospace industry.
Okay.
My first job was not in the aerospace industry, and was more in the IC chip testing and manufacturing. But I didn't do that for very long before I landed back here in New England, and ended up at a company called Meggitt Avionics, and started there as a quality engineer and worked up to quality manager. And then about 2 years later, I was the customer support manager for all the customers that we had in North and South America. Had a
Okay.
field engineer in Wichita, one out in California, and so forth. So the mindset that I had coming out of the military was I wanted to work in aviation, I wanted to work in defense,
Okay.
and I was able to do that and capitalize on my experience and background in the Marine Corps.
Okay.
So, and then from there, later on, I did about 1.5 years of medical device quality engineering.
Okay.
Just happened to be an opportunity that came along, and I said, let's dive into do that, because the rules in quality assurance and medical device are different, but similar in some ways than aerospace. There's still all the typical inspections and stuff like that, but
Right.
it was
Those,
a little side trip I did in the medical device.
from that experience in all those different industries, what were a couple of the key takeaways that you had that help you as you're assisting your clients in real estate?
Well, certainly attention to detail would be number one. When you're working on manufacturing devices that are going to go onto a defense satellite, you have to make sure it's going to be working correctly, because once it's up there, there's no one up there to fix it. So there are a lot of stringent requirements. So when Connie and I are working with clients, attention to detail is pretty important. You're looking at it, writing up a contract and how that contract is going to be constructed. You're walking through a house with a client. This is a big purchase for them. So attention to detail on some of the minutia that they might miss that are key, the age of something, for example, or the quality of the construction and so forth. So that attention to detail mindset coming out of quality assurance has been beneficial here with real estate. And I think that's important. And I think just working with people, because, in that industry, I would be visiting people that were suppliers that made the parts that we put together, or our customers. And sometimes our customers might have a complaint. And they said, what are you going to do to fix this problem? So you'd have to formulate a corrective action. And so you're working with people in different directions, whether they be you're their customer or this is our customer. So working with people and attention to detail were definitely a couple of things that came out of all that experience that's helped me in the real estate business.
Oh, that's perfect. And those are key points as a realtor. Now, when you shifted then from that industry and moved into real estate, number one, why did you shift into real estate? Number two, you picked Remax first, correct? As your first brokerage?
Yeah, so there's a little story there. So Connie and I went to high school together in Vermont, and knew each other in high school. She married her high school sweetheart, Steve, and off they went down south, and I went in the Marines eventually. In 2011, we reconnected on Facebook, and Connie was a Remax agent in Charleston, South Carolina. I was working aerospace here in New Hampshire, and I wanted to buy a house, so we just started talking about real estate, and then the discussion evolved to, well, what are you doing in life? And what are you doing in life? And eventually we merged our lives, and she moved up here to New Hampshire and brought her real estate experience with her. And we merged our careers, mine from aerospace into real estate. So that's how we became working together in New Hampshire, which is kind of fun and cool.
Right.
And just having the different backgrounds has been a tremendous asset for us as a team. So that's really exciting.
Yeah, so talk about that a little bit. It's neat when you see a husband and wife team that gels like you do. Talk about the roles on the team between you and Connie.
Well, that's a great point that I think some people don't understand when they start to hire a real estate agent. what's their background, what's their skill sets. And when you have a husband-wife team, and teams work this way too, but a husband-wife team, we are intrinsically bonded together as one person in a way to the client, but we have such a vast background. And when I see things in a house, like I'm always the one to go down into the basement where all the cobwebs are, and dig around down there and look at the furnace and stuff. And Connie's looking at other things about the house that she is going to pick out that says, she might say, well, that's going to be a problem on resale, for example. So it's a great blend of our skill sets that has put us together. And I think we make a great team. And it's funny because we naturally kind of fell into the roles. It wasn't like we said, let's get together and do real estate and you do this and you do that. I kind of just let it formulate as it would. And so I'm kind of the social butterfly to some extent. I do the business marketing and things like that. But Connie also shares in that as well. She does some of that. Whereas she's so experienced in the contract to close portion that she knows a lot of the rules of the road that I'm not as familiar with as she is, because she's been doing this for over 20 years.
Right.
So it's a great blend. I don't think I can't think of the last time we bumped heads and said, wait a minute, no, I don't agree with that. Because we'll come to the point where we have different opinions about something, but we always migrate to the point where, okay, we've decided that the solution to this problem is this, and it's kind of a blend of our opinions. Right. And so that works out super.
Oh, awesome. I know. And I've worked with you both, and it's a great dynamic to see the two of you work together and how you complement each other. Yeah. Very, very neat. So now Connie was a franchise owner for Keller Williams, correct? With about over 100 agents?
Right, that's correct. When she was in Charleston, she initially started with RE/MAX, and then later she and some of the other RE/MAX agents launched Keller Williams franchise there in Charleston. I believe it was the first Keller Williams franchise in Charleston.
Okay.
And she was there for a few years. I think she felt like, the management wasn't quite what she wanted. And she didn't see that she really fit in there. Some of the other agents had different aspirations and desires and things like that. And it just wasn't clicking with her. Okay. And so she said, well, I'm going to go back to RE/MAX and kind of start my own gig. And, so she went back to the RE/MAX franchise. And when we met over the phone for the first time in 2011, that's where she was. She was with RE/MAX. Okay. So when she moved up here, of course, and we merged our lives in New Hampshire, the natural tendency was to go to RE/MAX. Absolutely. So I left as I mentioned before, I left my aerospace career and joined her. So we went to RE/MAX here in New Hampshire in 2015. And then in 2018, we went to EXP.
Okay. I'm going to go back a little bit with Connie as a franchise owner, because that's a huge decision to make. It's a huge commitment. And I know we all feel that the franchise owner, the broker owner, is the one just rolling in the dough, making all the money, living the good life. Tell me about Connie's experience, and was it that, positive, great life, or was it something a little bit different for her? And is that why she went back to RE/MAX?
I think she just wasn't satisfied with her partners. Okay. They had kind of a different vision of what the brokerage should look like, what the franchise office should look like. And she just wasn't kind of meshing with them very well. And, that happens sometimes. You start out with a great idea, and then you move forward and go, well, I kind of want to go this way, and somebody else wanted to go that way. And it just wasn't meshing well. And at the end of the day, whether you sell real estate with Keller Williams or RE/MAX or whatever, at the bottom line, you need to be happy with who you're working with. And I think there was a lot of work to it that she didn't really count on at first. Right. And a lot of responsibility that she took on, and wasn't really satisfied with the role that she had and how that integrated with the other people. So it was, I think it was a big leap for her to go back to RE/MAX and leave that opportunity. Because let's face it, you come out of RE/MAX, you go to Keller Williams, you start a franchise. There's an opportunity there for sure. But at the end of the day, you got to be happy with what you're doing.
You do. Now, you came upon EXP somewhere in that transition. So talk to me about how EXP was presented to you? How did you find out about it? And why would you have moved from Remax, which you loved and kept going back to? Why would you move from there into EXP?
Well, that's really an exciting question because in 2018 we got this random call, like we all do sometimes.
I'll tip.
We were kind of, me being only a rookie in the business, so to speak, only a few years, and Connie
Right.
being seasoned. I think we just kind of looked at each other one day and said, maybe there's a different way to do this instead of this, sort of just the grind.
Okay.
And we discovered there were some things about how we were set up at Remax in our brokerage that was a little different than the other agents. And I felt like, it's nice if everybody was on the same playing field. And then it seems like kind of a fair thing. So I just felt like maybe there's a better way. We said, well, let's see if there's a better way. So we broke out the spreadsheet like we do for a lot of things. And I started putting all the different brokerages and all the benefits and the splits and the commissions that I could find out anyway around this area and put them on paper. And I started running different models. I said, okay, let's say we sold 30 homes or 20 homes or 50 homes. And the average price was this. And I looked at the commission and figured out what the average commission was and started running those models, and nothing really stood out. We had 5 different brokerages on the spreadsheet, and no one was really coming out on top. Got that random call, and it was like, you want to talk about EXP and learn about it? And at first we kind of scratched our heads and went, EXP, it sounds like exit, but it's not exit. EXP, what's that about? So sure, let's go to dinner. Went to dinner with our sponsor and his son, actually. Hit it off very well. Liked what we heard. I was really amazed at just all the different facets of the company that could create, other sources of income, other opportunities. I could see a portal for us to get into some international networking and so forth. So I just said, this has got to be our choice. And Connie and I talked about it, and probably a week, maybe 10 days later, we were done with Remax and moved on. It was funny. Back when I was in the Marine Corps, I kind of had a reputation and a couple titles actually. One of them was Bulldog. That's what people call me, Bulldog, because I was kind of relentless. And then when I was in the recruiter school for the Marine Corps, we were taught to be a rhino. You had to get up in the morning and start charging. It's a challenging job to be a recruiter. You got to get out there and convince people the Marine Corps is the best thing since sliced bread. And so when we were leaving the dinner with our sponsor, then to be sponsor, and I walked out and I saw his car in the parking lot, and what was on his license plate? But Rhino. And I said, I think we're in the right place.
That's neat. It's one of those.
We had a great meeting.
Yeah, that's just one of those crisscrosses that that you've connected. And, yeah, that's neat. Now,
and our sponsor was a veteran as well, so I had a connection there, and it was great meeting.
That's awesome. That's awesome. Now, with your experience in Remax, and then Connie had some experience in Keller Williams, how would you say in your years with EXP that has been different for the two of you than in prior brokerages? What opportunity, what support, how does it look different?
Well, I think I can summarize that in an acronym that I have kind of created in my mind. It kind of helps me explain what EXP is, why it's so different. When I think about EXP, I think about the word Camelot. Okay. And I created that word because I wanted something that when I talk to somebody about EXP, I want them to take back with them one word that they don't have to remember a lot. Just remember Camelot. So Camelot is an acronym, and I'll go through the acronym, the abbreviation. So C is for collaboration, and I think these are the most important things that a brokerage should offer an agent, and the most important things that an agent should be thinking about when they're in real estate. First is C for collaboration, a culture of collaboration, right. Teamwork and sharing, and that probably comes somewhat out of my Marine Corps experience, but I felt like the ability to work with other people and other agents and share ideas. So that was the C. A was the admin support. when I looked at what we had with Remax and what we were going to do with EXP, and I saw all the support from an administrative standpoint, whether it be how to get paid, access to our broker, things like that. The admin was great. The M is the marketing, of course. And I thought that was great because the M was not of just marketing a house, but marketing our business. E was the education and training. L was leads and listings. How do we get leads and listings? O was the opportunity for ownership and the stock ownership in the company. And T was a training. T was technology.
Okay.
So when I think of the transition and why we came over and what we benefited from that move to EXP, I put it into that acronym Camelot. These are all the things that we have now that we didn't really have fully at Remax.
Exactly. And do you have a sense at all in EXP that with that collaboration, through that training, through all that support, that you have more opportunity potentially in EXP than maybe you did have at either Keller or Remax?
I think definitely so. From reviewing Connie's past work and my experience with Remax, this experience with EXP has opened up many doors. Things that we just didn't have before. And some of it's rather simple. Yeah. I have access to more agents who are talking to me from out of our area who are saying, hey, I have a buyer down here who wants to buy a retirement home in Florida, but they need to sell their home in New Hampshire. Can you help them out? So these are these random sort of leads that we get that we never saw with Remax. And just the portal wasn't there. The system wasn't there.
Okay.
Now, a substantial portion of our business now is referrals from other agents from out of state, even sometimes in state.
Yeah.
So that has been a tremendous benefit to our company. I think just the educational opportunities. Of course, we have a lot of classes every week, as you know.
Yes.
And the ownership, being a stock owner in the company, when I first heard that, I went, wait a minute, I can be a stock owner in the company. That's not something that we could experience before in the other brokerages. Right. That was a big thing because obviously we're in our 60s and we want to build, a retirement portfolio. So right. It just felt like the right thing to do.
Well, and I'm with you on that stock ownership piece. I believe it shifts mindset. For you and Connie, how has it shifted your mindset?
Well, I think before it was like we were doing real estate and it was our job. Yeah. And, this is what we do. And it still is what we do. But now it's not only just a job, it's an adventure. It's a portion of our retirement plan. It's shifted us away from just working for a brokerage and going through the grind. Now we're working for ourselves, and we're sharing in this business with other agents, 86,000+ of them now. And it was only 14,000 when we joined. And we're sharing in the ownership, we're sharing in the building of this. And I think before everybody was kind of in their own little silos and their own little fiefdoms in our area. No one was collaborating. We weren't building a business together.
Right. I feel that too. Now, you're also a Homes for Heroes affiliate. Talk to me about that, what it means to you and what it is.
So Homes for Heroes is a national program that was started actually after 9/11 by some real estate agents out in the Midwest. And it stayed in the Midwest as sort of a small little benefit package that these agents offered their clients. And then around 2009, it started to spread and went into a national program. So when we were with Remax, one of the agents asked the broker, hey, I heard about this Homes for Heroes thing. And I think one of my clients just left me and went to a Homes for Heroes affiliate. What is this about? So the broker said, Bill and Connie, why don't you investigate that and see what Homes for Heroes is about? So we looked into it. And basically through Homes for Heroes as a real estate affiliate, we are giving 25% of our commission back when we work with veterans or active duty military buyers or sellers. also law enforcement, firefighters, teachers, and healthcare workers.
Okay.
So we saw the value in that we're giving back and helping people that we admire
Yes.
and respect
Yes.
and appreciate. Of course, my military career, I was like, wow, I can give back to, somebody just got out of the military, they just bought their first house and they're trying to forge a life now. I can give a piece of back of my commission to help them.
Yeah.
And Connie, before her real estate career, actually worked in hospital administration for 20 years. And so she was intrinsically a part of the healthcare industry. So we saw the value in giving back through the Homes for Heroes program. And I'm proud to say I think there's around 2,000 real estate affiliates now with Homes for Heroes in the country. And we have been able to maintain our position as number 40 out of all of those in the country. So it's a successful program. We really appreciate what it's done for our business, but it's also helped us find intrinsic value in what we do. It's great that we're helping people buy and sell homes, but now we're actually helping somebody that served our country or our community, and that means a lot to us.
Yes. Bill, you've shared some really amazing insights about your history, your career. What else do you have to add?
Well, I think as something that's kind of evolved in my mind about this business, because I knew nothing of it before I started in here, of course, it's kind of like Connie and I, how I envision how we work with people. It's 90% about people and 10% about houses. And I say that some people go, well, wait a minute, the house is important. Absolutely, that 10% is really important. It's what's being bought and sold. It's critical. But when you think about the time that you spend, you meet with a new client, you discuss their needs, really get a feel for what they want, what they're doing. You show them some houses, you build trust, you educate them, you listen to them, because this person might be 80 years old and selling a house that they've lived in for 45 years and they're going to assisted living. That's an emotional time for them.
Yeah.
It's a new couple that just has been married a year and they're planning to have a family and they want to buy a house. It's about the people. So if you go about this business with the attitude that I'm going to do the right thing, make sure that they buy a house that's right for them. But if you listen and have compassion and sincerity and educate them, it's all about focusing on the people. And when I talk to some agents, they go, yeah, I agree. And other ones look at me kind of like, well, I never really thought of it that way. But if you go about this business with that focus, that it's about people first, the rest of it just comes naturally.
Yeah, it does. It does. Now, and you and Connie both have just an amazing business, an amazing heart. And it's been such a pleasure for me to have met you and to have worked with you. And I just want to thank you for taking this time this morning to share with everybody.
Well, I appreciate the opportunity to join here on the call. We have just been, of course, good friends now for, we met in, I think, 2019 at the EXP Con, by happenstance. And it's amazing. We talked during this call about, some of the value we got out of EXP. And here we are, having a lifelong friend now with you. And every time Connie and I get on the call with you, we're like, okay, we're going to learn something new today. And we always do. So it's been a super awesome experience to get to know you over these past few years. And we look forward to many years of sharing opportunities.
I do too, Bill. I do too. Well, say hi to Connie, and thank you so much for joining today.
Thank you very much, Kelly. Have a great day. Appreciate the time.
You too.